Welcome to the IMAT Elite. So, every year, thousands of students sit in the IMAT, one of the toughest medical entrance exams in the Europe. Most of them fail, and here's the hard truth: it only it is not always because they weren't smart enough. It is because they made the same avoidable mistakes. So, in this video, I am going to break down the 7 most common reasons most IMAT students fail and give you a concrete fix to every single one. Stay till the end because reason number 7 is the one of the almost nobody talks about. Let's begin. So if you are preparing for the IMAT or even thinking about it, this video is going to save you months of wasted effort. I have analyzed past papers, studied the data, and today I am giving the roadmap that separates a student who score well from the ones who walk out of the exam hall disappointed. Let's get into it. So about this guide. This guide that I have prepared contains everything that you need to learn about and every mistakes that most of the students make. So first of all, let's learn about the IMAT examination a little bit. So as we all know, it contains 60 questions and the IMAT is exam of 100 minutes, and by giving this exam, writing it, you can take admission into Italian universities for medicine and surgery, also called as MBBS in India. And this is an annual exam, so it is only appear once a year. IMAT is one of the most competitive university examination in this Europe, in the whole Europe, or you can also say including Asia. First of all, it's NEET, then it's IMAT. Each year, thousands of aspiring doctors sit the exam, but only fraction of them earns a place in at least English medium medicine programs. This guide breaks down 7 most common, most damaging mistakes IMAT students make and give you a concrete actionable plan to avoid each one, whether you are just starting your preparation or are weeks away from the exam day. Apply these lessons and your chances of success will increase significantly. As we all know, the exam of IMAT has become very competitive from the past years. It was started in 2011, but now it is very competitive examination. And in 2025, almost 14,000 students sat in this exam, and the difficulty level has also increased from the past year papers. And this year in 2026, we are also expecting the same difficulty level as the last year and more aspirants. The number of aspirants may increase this year, but you don't have to worry. If you have studied enough, then you'll make it out. Okay, so let's move on to the reason number 1 why most IMAT aspirant fails: studying without a strategy. So here's what most students do: they open a big biology textbook, start from chapter 1, and just read for weeks, and then they wonder why they are not prepared. The IMAT has a specific syllabus, specific topics, specific weightings. Biology and chemistry are the heaviest section. So the biology and the chemistry, they are the heaviest section. Biology contain the most weightage and the chemistry is on number 2. And logical reasoning has the most question. Physics is tested but lightly. So what can be your fix? What it can be? So in my opinion, you should download the official IMAT syllabus today. Map every topic, allocate your hours accordingly, study with a plan, not with prayer. So this time prayer will not do anything to you. You have to study hard, and then you can also only then you can see the results. Along with prayers, you have to study a lot to crack the IMAT. Okay. So here's the first mistake. Okay, and it's explanation. So first step, you have to do the download the IMAT syllabus, and you have to understand the whole syllabus, like how all the things work, like what is the biology, chemistry, logical reasoning, physics and maths, how they are break down, and what is their weightage and everything, and how you can do that. If you are not good enough in physics or maths, then you should do them first. And if you are actually good in biology or chemistry, then you don't have to worry about them. And logical reasoning consists of 25% of the whole paper, so you have to stay too much attention to the logical reasoning. As we all know, biology contains the heaviest weightage, which is 35%, and the chemistry is 25%, and the rest is in front of you. After you make your plan, revisit your plan every 2 weeks and adjust based on mock test results. So here, mock tests are the most valuable thing in IMAT preparation. So when I was preparing for the IMAT, I used to do around 2 mock tests every day. Okay. So if you want to ace the IMAT or get ahead of the 99% of the student, do a lot of mock tests and mock questions each day without taking any break. You can take a day off, like on Sundays or any day, but do mock tests or daily questions just to brush up your memory and revise the things. Here's the pro tip: use a simple spreadsheet to track topics covered, practiced, masters. This alone puts you ahead of 80% of candidates. So how you can do this, let me show you a little bit. So what I used to do is, I used to make a table at the end of the practice book. So, and I divided into 3 parts: covered, practiced, and mastered. Okay, so let's say for today you decided that you will complete the cell biology and you covered it and you also practiced it, then you can tick it, just give it a little tick. And if you have mastered, like you think that you have mastered this topic, the cell biology, and if anyone asks any question about this topic, then you can go with it, then you can say you have mastered the topic, then you can do it. So like this, I have used to divide all the subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, logical reasoning, physics and mathematics, and each day I used to study all of them and used to tick if I have done cover the topics that I've decided, I've practiced and mastered, or anything else. So you can use this strategy to track your success and your revision. So I hope you have understand the first mistake. Let's move on to the second one. It is neglecting chemistry. That's the most common mistake every student do each year. So many students, what they do, they learn about biology, a little bit about physics and logical reasoning, and they totally neglect the chemistry. But the chemistry is like a sugarcane juice to make alcohol. So if you don't have chemistry in your mind, how to solve questions from mole concept, stoichiometry, periodic table, etc., then you can't make your alcohol. And what is it? Your marks. Okay, and eventually your marks will get you into the medical college in Italy. So let's do it. Chemistry is worth 15 questions in IMAT examination, yet most students spend less than 20% of their prep time on it. Chemistry is like very important, so you should highlight all the hot topics like periodic table, okay, whole concept, or you can say stoichiometry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry and organic chemistry, and inorganic chemistry. These three parts are very important, and that's the sum of the whole chemistry. Students with strong biology backgrounds tend to over invest in biology and treat chemistry as a minor subject. As we all know, and most of the people who are watching this video, they all know they put most of their time in biology because they love to study the bio topics, but it is not doing any good to them except they are revising the same thing again and again and not learning nothing new. So this is a very critical mistake. So chemistry questions on IMAT are highly conceptual, covering organic chemistry, reaction mechanisms, stoichiometry, and thermodynamics, and they reward students who prepare consistently. So chemistry is as important as the biology. Both are very important. One or two wrong answers in chemistry can cost you a seat at the university. As we all know, as a non-European student, you can only select one university at time. Okay, and you have no option to choose multiple university. So if you are lagging behind just by 0.1 marks, then you will not have a seat in medical college. Okay, so start focusing on chemistry. So what actions you can take? Dedicate at least 4 to 5 hours per week specifically, which is around 1 hour per day. It is very less if you think about it. And if you are not that good in chemistry, then you should put around 2 to 3 hours per day. As this is June, we have only 2 to 3 months for our preparation, and these are enough if you have a good base in chemistry, physics, mathematics, and biology. So if you put 4 to 5 hours specifically to chemistry, then it is more than enough for 3 months if you have a good base. If you have a basic knowledge of physical chemistry, organic and inorganic chemistry. If you are totally new to these concepts, then you should put 2 to 3 hours a day, and if possible then 4 to 5 hours a day for chemistry and the rest for other subjects. Pro tip is that Cambridge Chemistry A-level resources and Khan Academy are excellent free tool for IMAT chemistry, and this is the same source that I used in my preparation time. So you can download the chemistry A-level book from Google, or I can also put it into the description. And you all know Khan Academy. Okay, so let's move on to the third mistake. The third mistake is ignoring logical reasoning. That's also a very common mistake that many students do. Logical reasoning is like something many people think that it is very easy to do and we can take care of it, and they end up losing marks over it. So logical reasoning contributes 23 questions, and it is a lot. Single largest section by question count in the exam. But I guess this is the my mistake. These are not 23 questions. I'm very sorry that I made a mistake here. So we have 5 questions each. Okay, so 5 questions. We have 5 questions of logical reasoning in IMAT, and it is a very good amount of questions because if you do the math, 1.5 is for the single question, and there are 5 questions, then it will be around 7.5 marks. 7.5 marks are a lot. Just imagine if you do all the questions and you are lagging behind the 7.5 marks, then it can cost you a seat. Okay, don't forget about logical reasoning. Many science focused students dismiss the logical reasoning section. As I said about the chemistry, they do the same with chemistry, assuming it is a easy common sense. It is not. Okay, the IMAT logical reasoning section include critical thinking, problem solving, sequences, and reading comprehension argument that require a trained approach, and that is a lot. This is not just institution. This is not just a regular chemistry or a regular logical reasoning or regular induction based question. Those are very smartly designed questions. So student who skip this part, they cry after the exam. That's the basic science. Okay, so what are the action steps you can take? Practice at least 20 to 30 logical questions per week. This is very less. Okay, so think that you have 12 weeks to prepare for your IMAT and you do around 25 questions every day, then it will be around 300 questions. Okay, so you will be solving 300 questions in 12 weeks if you do around 25 questions every week. 300 questions are a lot, and you can complete a book in it. Time yourself strictly. The time management part is very important in the IMAT and the logical reasoning section. Time management is also important for the whole exam, like for the biology, for chemistry, and other. But for the logical reasoning, it takes a lot of time. You have roughly 1 minute 40 seconds per question overall, so you should set a timer before doing your practice session for the logical reasoning. Okay, study common IMAT logical fallacies and argument structure types. You can find more videos about it on YouTube, and I will make more videos if you want about the logical fallacies and argument structure types for the IMAT. Pro tip is that past UCAT paper and BMAT critical thinking questions are excellent supplementary practice for IMAT logic. You can do it if you want. Let's move on to the next mistake, which is fourth one: poor time management during the exam. That is the most common mistake, like past two. Okay, so we have almost 100 minutes for 60 questions in the IMAT. Every second counts, and I said almost 100 minutes because if you want to go washroom between the exam, or invigilator comes around 1 to 2 times at your desk to verify your documents or to just sign the paper. Okay, so there you lose around 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, and I don't know if you are that good, but average students always lose around 2 to 3 minutes more. So if you count that, it will be around 6 to 7 minutes out of 100. So you only have around 92 minutes for your whole examination. You have to do 60 questions in 92 minutes and do them correctly also. So I can see you have the basic idea. So in exit surveys, more than 60% of IMAT candidates say that did not finish the paper comfortably. That's the thing I'm talking about. Okay, so students regularly spend 4 to 5 minutes in single difficult biology question. There's a pro tip that if you are encountering a hard question in any of the section in biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, whatever, if it is taking more than 2 minutes, then you should leave it and mark it, and after the whole paper, if you have any time left, then you should try to reattempt it. And if you are stuck with the single question for around 4 to 5 minutes, then your game is over and you will be losing your time, marks as well, and God forbid your medical seat for your MBBS or medicine and surgery. So what you should do? Okay, simulate exam condition in every mock test. You should put a timer of 100 minutes when you do your full syllabus mock test, and you should see and manage your time there in your room or wherever you're studying. Okay, develop a personal section order strategy. Many top scorers start with logical then biology. So most of the students who scored a lot or are top scorers, they start with the basic sequence that has been provided in the paper. They go with logical reasoning first, then biology, then so on. Okay, and you can modify it with according to your comfort. Okay, if I say so, you should decide this one to your convenience. Never spend more than 2 minutes on any single questions, as I said earlier, on the first pass. If you are stuck with a question for more than 2 minutes, then you are doing nothing good. Okay, mark it, and you will do it after your all the questions. Pro tip: in your mock test, track how many questions you skip versus answer. The goal is 0 attempted question at the buzzer. Okay, so that is the pro tip you should do. So let's move on to the next mistake, which is our fifth one: not practicing past paper. It is a huge mistake done by every student. They always stick with alpha test series. Okay, and they always take a test series from some consultancy and do all the papers and 650 question paper. Okay, these are all good sources of IMAT question practice, but the best source of the IMAT practice in the world is the past papers, and this is the thing for the every exam in this world, because past paper give you a good approach of the questions that has been asked in the paper. Okay, so not practicing past paper content knowledge is not enough, है ना? And the IMAT ask question in a specific way. As we all know, IMAT has its own style to ask the question and make the question. So it uses specific phrasing, specific distractors, specific tracks. Like if you have a question, which of the following is not a type of or not a part of cell, or which of the following is not a cell organelle. So many students don't read the not, and they just stick the Golgi apparatus or the given cell organelle in the options, and they lose their marks there. If you have never seen that style before exam day, you will be thrown. Believe me, if you don't know how to answer these questions and how to identify the traps in the question, then you will be literally thrown out of the examination hall. Not physically, but mentally. You will not be able to solve the questions, and in your mind you have done all the questions correctly, but at the result day you will be receiving a result which is not according to your hopes. So take a note of it. Past paper, going back to 2011, as we all know, in 2011 IMAT started. Okay, that was the first exam of IMAT ever taken. So I don't suggest that you should go way back to the 2011 one. Okay, so you should instead do 2016 or 2018. You should start with 2016 or 18 question papers, because they have the new pattern questions with them. Okay, most of the papers are available online on websites. Complete one full paper per week in the last 8 weeks. Okay, review every wrong answer in detail. Build an error log. What I mean by error log is, you should make a notebook, or in your mobile or in your tab or laptop you can make a note where you write every wrong answer in detail. Build an error log. What I mean by error log is, you should make a notebook, or in your mobile or in your tab or laptop you can make a note where you write every wrong answer in detail. Build an error log. What I mean by error log is, you should make a notebook, or in your mobile or in your tab or laptop you can make a note where you put all the mistakes and the concepts that you have made mistake with, and you can read it just before your examination or the last week of your IMAT. Okay, know your weak points before the examiner finds them. Okay, so you should know what you are doing. What are the action steps you can do? Complete at least one full past paper per week in the final 8 weeks of preparation. Okay, so if you start with 2018 and you start before the 8 weeks and you do each one question paper every week, then you will be solving 2018 to 2025. Okay, so review every wrong answer in detail, understand why the correct answer is. Okay, track your section scores across paper to identify persistent weak areas. So you should not only focus on your perfect or the strong areas, you mostly should focus on your weak areas. That's what sort the duffers, I am using the very bad word, but that's what sort duffers and unsuccessful aspirants from the toppers and the high scorers. Okay, and the pro tip here is, I said earlier, build an error log, mention every mistake and concepts you made during your practice or your mocks, and read them every week, and so that you don't make that mistake again. Okay, let's move on to the second last mistake, which is exam day anxiety, lack of mental preparation. So you have to be mentally prepared for your examination, your IMAT. If you are not prepared, then you will do shit work in your exam. So content knowledge is not enough, as we all know. Content knowledge is very important, which is about 90% of the whole journey of IMAT. But the very crucial 10% are your anxiety or your mental preparation. If those are not good, then you will perform bad in the examination. If that is sorted, then you will be a star player. Okay, so what you should do, I might ask questions in a specific way, as we all know. Okay, so you should be mentally prepared. And I have spoken to students who studied for 6 months, and I also have a personal experience of mine. And those students who blanked in exam hall, I also talked to them. The pressure of a single exam deciding your medical school place is real and intense. So that 100 minutes will decide that you will be getting a medical school or not, or you are becoming a doctor that year or not. Those 100 minutes of your life will decide. So that is very crucial, and it can cause a lot of mental pressure. So you have to be mentally prepared for that. You can train your mind the same way you train your knowledge. Mind is also, your brain is also a muscle, and if you train it regularly, then it will build. As we regularly train our biceps, it gets bigger and bigger. If we train our brain, it gets more habitual to the things and will adapt easily. What you can do, stimulate exam day conditions repeatedly. Every time you do a mock test, you should make the room totally quiet and set up a timer and do your thing. Same time, same environment, strict timer. Okay, practice box breathing to manage anxiety spikes. So what you can do, if you are very anxious, you should do box breathing, or you can just simple words, you should breathe deeply and slowly exhale. Slowly inhale deep and exhale. You should feel very different after you do this. Sleep well in the final week. You should not be studying for 8 to 10 hours in your final week. Okay, your final week is very crucial for your exam day, because those 7 days will train your brain to be very calm and to be totally focused. Stop cramming new content 48 hours before the exam. This is the huge mistake every student do. You should only be focusing on your studies now. If you cram or rote memorize 48 hours before or 2 days before the exam, then you will do the hell work in the exam and you will not be acing the IMAT. Okay, your brain needs to consolidate, not overload. So what you can do in the final 2 weeks, stimulate exam day entirely, same wake time, same breakfast, same start time, just like a robot. You should do everything in your discipline and consistently in the last week of your preparation. And do practice box breathing, okay, to reset focus if anxiety spikes during the paper. Our intensive new content study in the 48 hours before of the exam. Consolidate, don't cram. Okay. And the pro tip is write down your 3 strongest topic the evening before your exam. Read them in the morning. This primes confidence before you enter the hall. Okay, so your 3 prime topics and the 3 strongest topics, you should write them and you should read them or revise them in the morning of your exam, and you will build the next level confidence, and you will be like that, today I'll crack this exam and something like this. Okay, you will be the hero of the examination. So that's what the second last mistake and the solution. Let's move on to the last but not the least, which is no revision system, forgetting what they learned. This is the most common mistake done by every student, and me myself, I used to do the same. The one almost no one talks about. No revision system. You study a topic thoroughly, you feel good, you move on. 2 weeks later, it's gone. That's how most of the average student do it. Okay, that is not your fault. That is how memory works. The Ebbinghaus forgetting curves shows we forget up to 70% of content within 24 hours without active review. What I said is Ebbinghaus. Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. As we all know, if we talk with someone, or like if someone gave us a task and we didn't work on it for about 24 hours or 48 hours, then we tend to forget it very easily. That's what every student do, and every human do, not only students. Okay, according to the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, without active revision, you forget up to 70% of the learned content within 24 hours, and that is very true. Okay, the solution is spaced repetition. What is spaced repetition? What you can do is, like for example, you studied a topic from biology or chemistry today, and tomorrow you will revise that same topic for about 30 minutes and do some questions in that 30 minutes also. And after 2 days, like on Monday you did the topic, and on Tuesday you did the 30-minute revision, and after 2 days on Friday you will do the 30-minute revision again. Okay, and so on. By the taking the gap of 2 minutes, you should do the revision of every topic just like this. So every day you will be having a topic to learn for about 30 minutes, and just like this, in 4 hours every day you can learn all your 4 topics, all your 4 subjects. Okay, so what are the action steps you can take? Digital flashcards. Use Anki, which is totally free, and it also has a premium subscription, but you can take it if you want. But the free version works very good. Use Anki to build biology and chemistry flashcards deck as you study each topic. And Anki also have some pre-made flashcards from the previous students or the people who have published their flashcards, so you can study from them as well. Review your Anki deck for 20 to 30 minutes every single day without exception. No exception should be done. Retest yourself on past papers, questions from topics studied 2+ weeks ago. Okay, weekly, as I said earlier. Anki algorithm automatically schedule cards based on your recall. 30 minutes of daily Anki is worth more than 3 hours of reading notes. That was the last tip from us. So I think you should work on all these tips, and by following these tips you will be acing your examination. So there you have it, the 7 reasons most IMAT students fail, and exactly what to do about each one. Avoid these mistakes, implement the fixes, and you are already ahead of the majority of candidates sitting alongside you. Okay, if this video helped you, please like and subscribe. I post IMAT prep content regularly, including subject breakdowns, most mock tests, walkthroughs, and study strategies. And we are going to make videos about the past papers soon, so stay tuned. Drop a comment below. Which are these 7 mistakes have you been making? I read every comment. Good luck and go get a seat from the IMAT Elite. Bye bye.